Well, hello everyone. Here to show you the DARE. It's like for DARE program. It's like for talk about what drug abuse and say the resistance education it is course that of course this was several years ago. Back in that 1996. I think it would have been about early '97. 1996 whenever I took this course right here. And of course this award right here is what I kept around. Of course, the one what you call is like the surprising treasures that I kept around. Whenever I say treasures, I mean like what you call valuable stuff. Is from my schooling it was, and of course that I was looking around and thinking about like I don't know if I still have that certificate of achievement or not, but it's like you're showing about it's like what the whole it's like it was like an honoring event that happened over there, of course, at Becky David Elementary School was. And I can remember, it was in the cafeteria area, and I can remember going in there was like a theater room, where the cafeteria was. There was like a stage where you can walk around. They had a lot of children's events and stuff like that were going on around there. But I can remember going to say the honor roll is that it was like an after school event, and a lot of times that I remember when I was in school that a lot of times that with most students it's like talking about with staying after if they want to stay after school or whatever to get caught up on work. It is I remember a lot of times that whenever I was in middle school and in high school especially, if I remember right, I think I stayed after once or twice, I think it was, and mainly it was on my senior year, of course, that I stayed after school, to get caught up on something, and a lot of students would probably think about is that that really you're not even supposed to get that feeling kind of like you're not even supposed to be in the school, after 4 p.m. something like that, 4 or 5 p.m. something like that, and knowing about why you're still there when everybody else has all gone home and your parents are probably worried about you, etc., etc. But I remember that my mom took me to this event. It was, and it knowing about with me that you had the certificate of achievement right here, and of course you have this this card. If I can remember right, that they were they given out I think about 4 other prizes. It was when after you graduated from the event. It was talking about what drug abuse is talking about is like the ways to say no, and then of course learn you about the basics about they probably do quite a bit more than really what I can talk about, but basically what I'll probably go ahead and talk about right here is basically about the DARE program, talking to you about the fact about that it's like a program to where it will teach you the basics about the drugs, and then about that ways to say no, and then knowing about it's like if anybody tries to talk to you when they try to doing them, ways to you say that you can refuse to start say again start using them. It is knowing about that what you can do to try to get away from it. But other than that the basic program was about attending really the courses. I guess that a lot of times that they could probably have it to where that they probably don't even go into details about any drugs. It is that knowing about any young kids that could be watching that's like if there is anything like it marijuana or heroin whatever it is that any type of drugs like that it is. But other than that you have right here is the DARE program, and of course this right here is like the only souvenir that I really have, of course, from the program. It's like ways to say no. And I remember that this card right here, of course, that I don't even know if you can still use it now, but it's a card that represents. It's like if you walk up to go to McDonald's. It was, I don't know if Arby's did it, but you have it to where that they tell you that if you go to a McDonald's and then you can show them this card right here, and there will be somebody there that would give you a free soft. I think it was a free soft drink. And I don't know why I don't say anywhere on the card necessarily about what you're supposed to get with it. To me it looks like maybe a a card, just to kind of, it's like a little note card, I guess. It's something like, to keep in mind about, ways to say no. And then of course, remember, it's about the whole part about that you attended the ceremony and stuff. But on the other hand too, that I half the time I wonder, why, because back at the ceremony they say that a free soft drink, I think for life it is. You hear about that maybe on like the Wendy's commercials or something, that free burgers for life or whatever if you join online or anything like that. But of course this was during this time back in like 1997, 96, before, I guess that was like before if they even knew what Wi-Fi, wireless was, and mobile amps were, that a lot of times that knowing about that, with the card is that a lot of times with most viewers around here, they probably think about it as like, that hey, that really that technology's come advanced to the point to where they don't really even want to concentrate on where they were before all that was around, before that all those other Microsoft, you say Apple products it was. But other than that, is talk about right here with the graduate, that this like the only souvenir that I have right here from whenever I graduated from the program. And I remember that one time I went to McDonald's one time, and they told me that some McDonald's restaurants that do not accept cards like this. That a lot of times they say that you show this to the person at the register, and then they hand you a free soft drink. It is. But on the other hand too, that knowing about that, whenever you graduate from the program, it is. I have not tried this card yet. I would say that the card, I would say, is at least 14 years old, something like that. If at least 13, 14, something like that years old, and it's been over a decade, since I had it, and taking pretty good care of it, and got a few scratch marks. Of course, I remember that I had lost it. Not really lost it, but I left it at the McDonald's restaurant at one time. That I thought I had lost it, but then I remember my mom called that McDonald's, and she's like, hey, my son left us, and they said that they hang on to it for you. And I can remember that during that time that there was like I think the health department had issued some situations that happened about that they had found I think some things that were going on with the cavitation of the food. It is that I kept thinking those scratch marks could have been from the fact about hey, that there could have been would you say a mouse or whatever you call it, raccoon, that put a few scratch marks with its paws on there or something. But more likely, I would probably say that those scratch marks could have come from maybe it looked like somebody had taken a penny and put a few scratch marks or whatever you call it on there. At the time, you begin to wonder if you see any scratch marks on anything that related to a card or whatever you call it. Maybe your car, if you drive like maybe a Toyota, or if you drive a Sonata or whatever, a few scratch marks. A lot of times it's like scratch marks on your stuff. Do they mean that somebody's trying to erase something or mark something, or what you call, maybe it's like a signature that it's supposed to be coded into like a word puzzle or whatever. But other than that, you have like there's the scratch marks, and of course, ever since I got the card back, from McDonald's, that I remember that they those scratch marks were there. So anyway, but other than that, let's talk about what the DARE program is. You have right here is a certificate, and of course there's no year on there, but then of course it's like so far it's time for the drug abuse, and then of course it's like for resistance of the drug education, and then here's a school, police, and parents. It is, but anyway, it has successfully completed the core programs to the drug abuse resistance education. And it has made a personal commitment to avoid the pressures to begin using drugs. But other than that you could probably think about that. Besides 10, at one time they say that there's like 8. It looks like there's 8 ways to say no on the back of the card. It is, but of course, if you think of your own, I don't think they've ever asked me if I can ever think of my own ways to say no. But maybe if I could add maybe 2 more, a lot of people probably think about that, maybe after 13 years, that should have given you enough time to maybe at least come up with 1 or 2 of your own. And I would probably say that 2 of them would probably be is that, to think of a reason. It's like, I don't speak English, so I don't understand what you're saying. And then on the other hand, too, that knowing about is like, from where I come from, it's like you have to have a medical license, so I can't do it. But other than that, it's like talking about, it's like what you call it, it's like for the DARE program and a certificate of achievement. And so far as certificate 2 is like as in for me, it's for Matt Warren, and of course right here, so far as the card for congratulations, for passing up for the DARE program. And so far as that, it's like knowing about the memories from the 6th grade from Becky David, of course, with the DARE program.